I don't know who you are, but I'm with you. 248 on our radio station. Welcome back. My guest is Hela Cheikhrouhou, Minister of Mines and Energy. Welcome back. Ma'am, the situation in Gafsa is stable. What about the production and your expectations for the social situation in Gafsa in general?
Well, certainly with a lot of dialogue and efforts from various parts, the situation has improved. It is not, in my view, yet fully stable.
Mm-hmm.
It's still volatile and fragile. So every day you have different pockets of sort of unrest or strikes or blockages.
Mm-hmm.
The production has strengthened. We are now a little bit shy of 3 million tons year to date for 2016. Our aim is to achieve 4 million tons, a level which has not been reached since 2010. In order for that to happen, we do need for transport of phosphates and for production of phosphate not to be hindered anymore.
But this might happen in the coming weeks.
So we have, I would say there is an iterative process. You would resolve, for instance, one of the issues that happened in Villa, then there would be another issue that is initially resolved in Rdaif, then it pops up again. So dialogue has to continue.
Mm-hmm.
In Metlawi, transport by trucks was authorized, then the union is again blocking it. So it's one step forward, one step backward, but overall we are moving, let's say, 2 steps forward, 1 step backward. It's a bit of a dance. It's very important for everybody involved to realize that the phosphate sector today is sick. It will take a long time for it to recover.
Mm-hmm.
Because the equipments have suffered from this repeated stop and go, extremely damaging to the plants.
Do you have to reinvest?
So some of the factories like Tiferet, which were built a few years ago, best practice, highly modern, today looks as though it's 40 years old because you can't stop and go and have acid in the machine. Then this is very damaging.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Groupe Chimique and Tiferet has been very vulnerable to the lack of phosphates. Mm-hmm. They are functioning on average 25 to 30% of their capacity. So it's extremely important that we all realize we can have social demands, we can have dialogue, it's legitimate, but we should never stop the production. This is something where everybody loses.
Mm-hmm. After 5 years of social unrest, we've lost some markets. How can the Tunisian phosphate company CPG regain its 40 markets and conquer new ones? Some observers claim that it's very difficult and maybe impossible.
Look, to gain credibility for a product which was well known and appreciated for decades, it takes stability, it takes continuity of production.
Mm-hmm.
It has been now several instances where Groupe Chimique or Tiferet or Alchimia, they had to default on their clients. Mm-hmm. So imagine a sector which requires fertilizers and you have to plant now and you need, in India, you need your fertilizer now, and your supplier, well-trusted supplier for decades, tells you, sorry, I cannot send you the fertilizers. I have not been able to obtain the phosphates. So this is damaging. It will be possible to gain, yes. We have one condition, mm-hmm. It's continuity of business. Then you can gain back those markets.
Continuity of business. How do you manage to convince the people, I mean, for example, people in India or other countries, you have to talk about social unrest while it's not a priority for the businesses. They need it. So do they understand? Do they tolerate? Do they accept?
There is always force majeure clauses in these contracts. So there will be financial penalty. There will be a financial penalty on the Tunisian supplier who did not deliver. Mm-hmm. So they are, in some cases, they get compensated financially. In other cases, because of the long history of partnership, they may even forgive. But you would do it once, you would do it twice, but the third time you get, I'm going to look for another supplier.
Yeah, that's normal.
So we do need to have a sense of nationalism. We have patriotism. We have to let companies work. And right now, dialogue has improved. There is dialogue on several fronts, efforts to recruit, have a massive program to fill some of the vacancies for 2016 to 2018, as well as work with some of the financial institutions that specialize in micro and SME finance, as well as with the local industrial pole and the development fund. So harness all these institutions to create alternative opportunities for the youth in terms of job opportunities and entrepreneurship.
You're talking about alternative opportunities. I would like to ask you about alternative energies or renewable energies. Does Tunisia have the means and the skills to invest in new energies?
Well, one thing for sure, Tunisia can pride itself of the diversity and quality of its technicians and engineers. So this is good. We have some of the basic industrial network that is necessary for renewable energy to thrive. We have had a successful industrial network of companies that has developed around oil and gas industry, around electrification industry in Tunisia, which are success cases in the world and in Africa. So that can be converted, but it requires a lot of work on that aspect of industrial development, at the same time as we launch a predictable flow of projects in the renewable energy. And that's what we are working with the head of government and other ministers to discuss, this program of renewable energy projects, which will be announced in the coming days or weeks. We've worked with STEG and other parties to make it as ambitious as possible. It includes a majority role for private producers of energy, but also some significant role for the utility itself, STEG. And it will give opportunity for those who want to have auto production, meaning produce for their own consumption, like cement factories, who may wish to install a wind or solar factory. Some who can be given a simple authorization to produce renewables for less than 10 megawatt in solar and less than 30 megawatt in wind. And then for bigger projects, we will be giving concessions. So all of these are planned and are under discussion in the ministerial meeting yesterday, and in a few days we will continue this discussion. And then we will work with all partners. I can tell you, all the financial partners of Tunisia are excited about financing this transition to renewable energy. I think the ingredient we have to get right is how to make these projects happen as cost-effective, sustainable, and relatively creating jobs for this industry. If we get it right, we can not only create jobs for Tunisia, but also become a hub that can serve sub-Saharan Africa for its needs in solar and wind.
Because there is a market, an important market.
Definitely. A huge market in sub-Saharan Africa.
Mme Hela Cheikhrouhou, Minister of Mines and Energy, I would like to thank you very much for coming and for sharing your view on the situation in Tunisia. Thank you very much, and I hope to have you here in the coming months to shed more light on the situation.
Thank you for the invitation, and good luck for you.
Thank you.